Did you realize that we are almost done with our ALF book and the letter A? And then we get to learn our new friend, which you've probably already seen in all of your materials, but now we can talk about them. Of course, we're not going to forget the letter A, are we? No, but we're going to add it in with all the other letters that we know, and we're going to start to blend some words together. So for today's lesson, you're going to need your ALF book. A lot of the pages at the end are a lot easier to do when we're here at school. So I'm gonna kind of change them up a little bit, and we're even gonna skip one of the pages. So when you find your ALF book, you can open to page 10. On page 10, you can see a lot of ALF's supplies that he keeps in his backpack for his adventures. The letter A isn't at the beginning of too many words, and so that's why we're starting to listen for sounds in the middle of words. And that's when we start chopping things. And I love to chop words because you can hear all the sounds and letters that you know. Like this word map. App. We hear that letter A in the middle. So what we're gonna do is talk about these pictures and decide which sound we hear in the middle. A or ah. The letter A, remember, says what? A. And the letter O says ah. So we'll circle which one we hear. Say the word. The picture that we see at the top here, say bottle. Let's say bottle really slow, and we could even try chopping it to hear those middle sounds. B, at, oh, b, ah. I hear one of these letters. Which one says ah? The letter O. So we're gonna circle it, but we're also gonna trace it. I'm sorry it's a little dark in here today, friends, if you've noticed. It's because, well, one, it's a cloudy day today and the sun isn't out there, but also they're fixing the electricity in the building, so they had to turn off the lights. So that's why it seems like I might be showing you the book in like a closet or a dark room. It's because it is dark. But I think you can still see all right, so we'll keep going. Say socks. What do you hear in the middle of socks? Let's chop that. Ah. Hey, I hear one of these letters. Which one do you hear? Ah. That's the letter O again. So let's circle the letter O and trace the letter O. So far, we've heard ah and ah inside these words. I wonder if there'll be any that have ah in the middle. Say hat. Let's chop hat and listen for that middle sound. At. There it is. There's our letter A. And let's trace it. You may have noticed that I like to chop things more than once. So like when we did hat, I did at. I think it's easier to hear sounds if you chop a couple of times, or if you even just say the word a couple of times. So that's why I always do that. Say pan. Let's chop the word pan. Which one of these do we hear? That's another letter A. The last one, we've talked about what this is before. It holds your water. It's called a canteen. Say canteen. This one has lots of sounds in it, and it gets kind of tricky to chop. But I wonder if we just do the first few sounds in the word, if we can hear a or ah, and then we can stop. I hear one of them. Which one says ah? That's the letter A. This is the page that's a little tricky to do when you are not at school. So we're gonna skip this page. You can definitely look at it, talk about it, make up a story about it. That would be fantastic. And that back side of the page, you could do the same thing, but we're not gonna do it together. What we are gonna do is page 13. On page 13, I see Alf, and he's in a canoe going down the river, and what are all these hungry looking animals? Alligators. Alligators. What we need to do is cover these alligators up so that Alf can safely take his canoe down the river without the alligators eating him. At the bottom, there are bushes. I think they're bushes or like grass. And they have lowercase letters on them. So I'm going to turn the page for a second. Lowercase a, lowercase g, you can say them with me. Lowercase o, lowercase c, lowercase a, lowercase g, lowercase o, and lowercase c. Our job will be to cut these out and use them to cover up the uppercase letter and the alligator up here so that Alf can safely travel through. So the first line that you have to cut will be the purple line. So remember to be careful with your page so you don't cut through your whole book. And you can start cutting on the purple. Now that we have our pieces cut out, you'll need your glue stick. So here at the top we see an uppercase O. Your job is to find the lowercase o with the bush and glue it on top so that we can cover up that alligator so Alf can be safe and not get eaten. Next is an uppercase C. We need to find a lowercase c. No, that's not a lowercase c. Is this a lowercase c? Yes. Make sure that it is not upside down. We don't want it upside down. That wouldn't make sense. Next, we have an uppercase G. G. So we need a lowercase g to cover up that uppercase g. Is this a lowercase g? No. Is this a lowercase g? Yes. Uppercase A is next. So we need a lowercase a. Is this a lowercase a? Yes. Finally, I got one right on the first try. I think that you could probably finish the rest on your own. Say the name of the letter and the sound that the letter makes as you're gluing the letters down, and then we can check when you're all done. There we go. They're all covered up. Let's check and make sure you have the right letters glued in the right spots. Here you should have a lowercase o that says ah. Next was a lowercase c that says k. Then a lowercase g that says g. A lowercase a that says a. A lowercase c that says k. On the top on the other side, a lowercase a that says a. A lowercase o that says ah, and a lowercase g that says g. Super duper, that is the end of our Alf book.